Hello, this is the Stories Beside channel. I release videos every day for you. Subscribe and click the bell. Standing under hot lines of bathwater. After a hard day, Emily finally relaxed. It was a true delight for mind and body. A sense of joy and peace engulfed her as the water enveloped her body. At work, things were going well on the rise, and so there was no free time. All Emily's thoughts were occupied with work. The small firm was thriving, albeit with her father's support. And yet, it was Emily's brainchild. She developed the concept herself, managed and hired employees herself, and even made a profit. It was her project and her pride. It wasn't until she was home in her cozy nest that she was able to truly relax, the warmth of the water coursing through every pore of her skin. Relieved tension and fatigue. The hot water softened the muscles of the breakdown, the taut strings that had been terminated during the busy day. The tension and stress went away smoothly, but the thoughts of the discord that had begun in her and Kevin's marriage never left. Emily closed her eyes and let the waves of warmth permeate her body and mind. With each passing minute, she felt lighter and lighter. She could feel her breathing becoming deeper and more regular. The rapid rhythm of her heart slowed, and her thoughts calmed down. In this moment, she began to be completely present in the moment, oblivious to the outside world. It was a time for the most contemplative of dreams and peace. Finally, Emily let go of the past day and allowed herself to relax and recover. The business trip was short and even ended early. She had hoped to catch her husband at home and be with him these few free days. But when she came out of the bathroom, she felt that her body was full of energy and her soul was saturated with positive emotions, full of strength and ready to take on new challenges. And she certainly didn't expect to hear what came to her ears from the kitchen. "Hi, Bunny. How are you today?" That was her husband, Kevin's voice. "Hi, sweetheart. I'm doing great. I'm actually a little worried because there's something important I have to tell you." You heard a female voice say over the speakerphone. "He sounds serious. Go ahead and tell me." You could hear Kevin smiling as he said it. "I found out I was pregnant." "Wow," Kevin answered, a little disappointed. "That's so unexpected. But you know, I can't say I'm not glad at all." "You are. But I thought we were just enjoying our time together." A female voice hummed. "I've always wanted to be a father, and all my wife wants is her career. And now I can't help but feel joy and responsibility at the same time. Now that we're having a baby, I think we need to have a serious discussion about our future." "What do you mean?" "I'm married." She laughed. "Can you tell your husband it's his baby?" "I don't mind. But you and I will know who the father is." "What if he looks like you?" "But how will he know it looks like me?" Kevin grinned. "That's right, too." Got angry with laughter from the woman on the phone. "I promise you that I'll leave my wife and keep her for you and me to have a family, if that's what you want. But think well of your financial well-being. I love you and our future child more than I love anyone else. You see, this is very difficult for me. I realize that you have a family, and I wouldn't want to be the cause of the breakup of your marriage. I don't think our future is going to be painless." "All right, then let's leave it at that. I'll come to you now. I'm ready to take the consequences and do everything I can to protect our family." Kevin said proudly in response. "I have to think hard about all of this. Our future child deserves a better father. And I don't want to cause problems for your family." Heavy, sighed the mistress. "I understand your concerns, but I firmly believe that we can overcome all the difficulties together. You know that I love you and will always stand on your side. We'll think it through. We'll consider all the risks. No one will ever guess anything. I love you too, and I hope we can find a solution that is best for everyone. Come back sooner rather than later." It was all Emily could do to quickly hide back into the bathroom so Kevin wouldn't notice her. There was not a single thought in her head not to fight, not to scandalize, to clarify the relationship, to demand an explanation. She didn't feel like it. She didn't know if she could hold herself together and not cry. Everything was very clear here. To say that Emily was shocked is not to say anything. This news was overwhelming and devastating to her emotional state. This conversation she had overheard had completely upended her view of marriage and her husband's faithfulness, and revealed how blind she had been all along, how foolish and gullible she had been. Everything that had seemed solid and reliable to her shattered in an instant. Emily, clinging to the walls, reached the living room and almost collapsed on the couch. After an unknown amount of time, the shock gradually turned to bitterness and rage. She was completely discouraged and felt anger at her husband for his betrayal, as well as at herself for not noticing the betrayal sooner. Such a thing she could never forgive. She was deceived, used, and vulnerable. There was no way the deep heartache could be humiliating, caused by the feeling of loss of trust and love. Emily was gripped by a tremendous sense of loneliness, even if in fact she would not be without the support of friends and family. But for some reason she didn't want to just tell her that she had found out about the affair. She decided to sort through her feelings and emotions herself. Emily thought about how long the affair had lasted and what was the reason for the long reassessment of her life, and made difficult decisions about the future of her marriage. Looking at herself in the mirror, Emily, even knowing her flaws, could not say she was not pretty or charming enough. She was a middle-aged woman, fine-looking and possessing a natural elegance that epitomized sophistication and style. Her face was pleasant, combined with expressive features and delicate skin that reflected health and luster. Her hair was always neatly styled. Though age had left its marks, she shone with her nobility and charisma. Emily's clothing style combined classic beauty with fashionable accents. She had exquisite taste and preferred to wear elegant and well-made outfits, could afford them. Her closet contained a variety of predominant colors that accentuated her best features and created a beautiful harmony with her appearance. She showed off her sense of style by creating a wonderful combination of accessories and details that made the images complete, mannered, and intelligent. She possessed a fine sense of manners and communication skills. Her speech gestures were characterized by grace and confidence. Emily's character was reserved. She was able to show respect to others and discovered sympathy for others. And her intelligence surpassed her outward beauty. She was always striving for self-improvement, was inquisitive from childhood, and could support conversations on various topics. Emily impressed everyone around her with her true beauty and elegance and nurturing. Anyone would gladly devote time to her company, enjoying her beautiful appearance and intellectual erudition. But this was not enough for her husband, Kevin. Apparently, her parents, Benjamin and Miranda, were very respectable and wealthy people. Intelligent parents with an equally beautiful daughter. They paid special attention to their daughter's upbringing and development. From childhood, they realized that education was a key factor in shaping one's personality and success in life. From her earliest years, they encouraged Emily's participation in cultural life, taking her under their wing and visiting the Opera Museum Theater. This became a routine for the whole family. Her parents regularly read books to her as entertainment, stimulated her creativity and interest in science and art. They also provided her with a quality education in prestigious schools, where a strong emphasis was placed on mastering fundamental knowledge, the ability to analyze and synthesize information, development of critical thinking, and independently. Her parents also helped Emily develop a love of languages. They regularly organized trips to different countries where she could practice and improve her language skills. They also hired foreign language teachers, which allowed her to master several languages at a high level. However, Benjamin and Miranda did not control the girl much and gave her enough freedom for self-development and self-expression. They encouraged her interest and encouraged her to explore new subjects and hobbies on her own. Kindness and social responsibility were also important values that the parents actively instilled in their daughter. Together, they dedicated charity events and volunteering activities that helped her develop an understanding and compassion for those in need. Through this nurturing and support, Emily became educated and kind. She combined being highly erudite and broad-minded She received an excellent education, which opened up many career opportunities for her. Thanks to her knowledge of languages, she was able to easily communicate with people of different cultures and find a common language with them. It is important to note that her parents were always an example for their daughter. They were space scientists themselves, educated and intelligent people, showed respect for others, and demonstrated dedication to the values they passed on to their daughter. So what was their surprise when Emily met Kevin? Kevin was a very ordinary man. He had an ordinary face with no distinguishing features. But there was something about him that attracted the attention of women. It was his incredible charisma, confidence in himself, and his manner of communication. He was kind, generous, and caring, qualities that made him even more attractive in the eyes of others. His appearance didn't immediately attract glances, but the magic of his presence was beyond the usual rules. He was a true ladies' man, Don Juan, with charisma and interests capable of capturing the hearts of women. He knew how to behave with women, always gave them attention, and listened to them. This created a sense of special connection and comfort. Insanely attractive, Kevin didn't just make do with compliments. He sincerely saw the beauty in every woman, which made everyone's hearts flutter. He was able to communicate on various topics. He was rooted superficially, but in everything, and was interested in the world around him. Could hold a conversation from art to philosophy, which allowed him to reach a new level of communication. He also talked about books, movies, art, or any other topics that women cared about. This gave him richness and depth, making him even more attractive. And though he wasn't the most handsome man, his impeccable charisma and behavioral skills made him an object of attention for many. His ability to see the beauty within people and his ability to create a special bond made him irresistible in the eyes of many women, which he certainly capitalized on. It was an unusual charm that attracted women. To him did not go unnoticed by himself either. His mistresses could not be counted. He possessed an open and mesmerizing gaze that seemed to count everyone's thoughts and desires. He was a master of tender words and compliments that scattered from his lips like music conquering hearts. Kevin made everyone think, smile, and feel special. An important trait was his caring and attentiveness. He listened to other people's stories, helped to solve problems, created a special atmosphere of coziness and comfort. He knew how to be a support and understood what makes people happy. And that is why, of course, Kevin never limited himself in the choice of companions. He understood that beauty is not always in appearance and found attraction in the individuality and uniqueness of each. He and Emily met at the university where Emily's friend worked. She happened to look into the department and saw Kevin there. At first, Emily did not have any special feelings for him. He seemed to her just a friend and nothing more. But gradually, they began to spend more and more time together, having lunch together and discussing the lectures that Kevin was giving. Their conversations became more and more exciting and interesting. Kevin realized that in order to attract Emily, he needed to open up to her in the best possible way. He began to share his hobbies and interests, his dreams and ambitions. Emily was impressed by his passion and determination to achieve his goals, and gradually began to see a new side of him. She recognized his depth and talents that were not illuminated by his outward appearance. His charisma and ability to stir life with his energy awakened a feeling in her that she couldn't ignore. Ever so slowly, but inevitably, Emily fell in love with him. They grew closer after the wedding. Kevin quit his job at the institute, and thanks to the help of Emily's father, he got a job right away as a senior assistant in the firm of one of Benjamin's close friends. The firm was a small one just gaining momentum, and at first the pay was a bit difficult. Emily herself owned her own business and understood how difficult it was, so she never blamed her husband for the small income. Over time, Kevin began to depend on his wife and even his father-in-law, and he didn't seem to have any intention of changing. He was deprived of his own motivation and initiative. He became lazy and incapable of independence. He stopped striving for financial independence and showed no interest in building his own career or developing his skills. He has relied on a wealthy father-in-law to provide for his financial needs and has not taken action to change this situation. I don't earn enough and I can't provide enough for us. I feel so ashamed. Crying all the time. Kevin, don't worry. It's all material. Does it really matter? Emily grinned back. We're in this together. I'm with you. Your dignity does not depend on the amount of money you earn. I love you and appreciate you not for your salary, but for yourself. But I'd still like to be financially stable so you never have to worry about money. Look, you don't have to exaggerate. My paycheck is enough to cover all of our needs, and I'm always willing to support our family. Besides, money isn't the most important thing in life. We have everything we need to be happy, love, and ourselves. I'd like to be more invested in our future. Kevin insisted on his point. We can find ways to improve our financial situation together. Maybe we should look at new ideas or try to find an additional source of income. It's important to remember that we're a team, and no matter what happens, we'll get through it together. Emily rested her head on her husband's shoulder. You're right, aren't you? My love is the best love of my life. It's you. Thank you for always supporting me. Kevin kissed his wife on the top of her head. Never doubt us. I love you just the way you are. And in every circumstance, we will find happiness. Emily was always protective of Kevin. Although she began to realize that her husband didn't realize the importance of independence and didn't see the problem in depending on someone else for his financial well-being, he had become passive and used to the comfort his father-in-law provided. But things turned out to be even worse. Kevin displayed unenviable behavior by cheating on Emily, a complete disrespect for their family relationship, and a breach of mutual trust. He turned out to be a selfishly dishonest and mean-spirited person. This behavior caused pain and disappointment to Emily, who supported him financially, protected him from the attacks of friends and family, although she sincerely loved him, and of course, expected him to be respectful and faithful. Moreover, his mistress was already pregnant by him, which only added to the complexity of the situation. This indicated that he had not only violated the agreements and mutual trust in his marriage, but was also responsible for starting a new family. But something told Emily that most likely he was just messing with his mistress as well as herself. A couple of days later, when Emily heard again that Kevin had arranged a date with his mistress, she decided to follow him. Although such behavior was not typical for her, her parents had taught her to always tell the truth and to be a good and honest person. But the world was more complicated than that. I'm sorry I'm late, honey. It's just that my wife didn't want me to leave. Tonight, Kevin ran into the cafe with a lush bouquet of flowers and kissed the woman leading him. It's been a long time since he's given Emily flowers. This is getting unacceptable. I'm so tired of being the second plan in your life. Maybe it's time for a change. The answer is, woman, I realize you deserve better. I promise you I'll spend every dime I have on you. I want to make you happy, make your life better. Are you serious? You're willing to risk everything for me to keep doing this? And she arched an eyebrow. Absolutely. My wife is no longer a priority for me, and I want you to feel like you really matter to me. You deserve the best. Kevin took the woman's hand. Then get a divorce. Summarized the woman. Oh, it's not that simple. Kevin grabbed his carry-on and covered his eyes, suffering at this sight. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't give a damn about my wife, but it's not a good time for a divorce. My firm is just starting to bring in its first revenue. I just don't have time. I don't have time for me, the woman resented. The stupid blonde is a stereotype, and Emily always thought so until she saw this person. Intelligence is not dependent on hair color or appearance, Emily would have liked to say, but the one sitting a few tables away was a refutation of that. All her answers and statements were superficial, not deep or meaningful. She showed a lack of interest in intellectual or complex topics and tended to talk about everyday or unimportant things. She clearly gave the impression of a person devoid of common sense and basic knowledge. Her facial expression was indifferent and naive, and she clearly expected someone else to solve her problems and make decisions for her. As soon as Kevin was distracted by something, the woman would immediately stare at her smartphone, surfing social networks and sending messages, not paying attention to the world around her, and Kevin along with her. And she clearly showed no interest in literature, science, or news, preferred to discuss idle talk and superficial topics. The woman made silly and ill-considered jokes, lacked analytical thinking, believed everything Kevin told her, and sometimes Emily herself thought he was stupid and what were obvious lies. Unorganized, careless, forgot her things and dumped that responsibility on Kevin. Blamed him. She was glamorous to the point of tastelessness. Too flashy in Emily's opinion, but had taste. Couldn't take that away. She had a way of combining the seemingly incongruous. Her clothes and accessories corresponded to the latest fashion trends and gave the impression of luxury. Styled hair, delicate makeup, and neat manicure. She had a charisma and confidence that made her the center of attention. Even in the cafe where she and Kevin sat, she received the admiration of the people around her. Emily, though she envied her looks, but she couldn't say that about her intelligence. Well, darling, that's not what I mean. I'm tired of this routine and indifference. You give me what she can't. We must choose our happy life together. Rejoice, Kevin. I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it. But if you're willing to make that kind of sacrifice, at least I think your intentions are very high. But how do I leave my husband? The woman clapped her eyes. I promise that I will do everything I can to make you happy, and I won't let anything stand in our way but leaving my husband. I don't think now is the time either. Emily, sitting at a neighboring table wearing sunglasses, on impulse wanted to walk up to this loving couple and say everything she thought about them. But she stopped herself in time. She decided to see what Kevin was going to do for their anniversary if he promised to blow all his money on his mistress. And consciousness came upon Emily in a mad avalanche. It turned out that Kevin was making money, and he had money, but all of it from the family budget had been spent on a mistress. She felt even more frustration and helplessness and deep emotional distress. This awful, revealed truth almost made her arms drop, almost devoid of strength, as if the ground had gone out from under her feet. Kevin had destroyed not only their marriage, but also any humanity and honor in their relationship. All the effort she had put in to keep their standard of living comfortable had been for nothing. Helplessness. That's what Emily experienced. She had no idea. What was she supposed to do in this situation? Kevin had been hiding his financial spending all this time, depriving them both stability and financial security. And how blind and stupid she, Emily herself, had been. She felt ashamed of herself. She was unwittingly finding herself in the role of the only source of income and a way to pay the bills that further increased her burden. She felt genuinely childish. It was a shame to see how her efforts were focused on maintaining the image of affluence and quality lifestyle that her husband was carelessly spending on another woman, even now pregnant. Keeping them together was not something she was going to do. She berated herself for taking on the entire financial burden and care of the family, while Kevin carelessly eradicated all their dreams of a future together. This sensual, abusive, but real lifestyle of her husband undermined the trust that had been in the relationship between them all these years. Even the very fact of cheating never hurt Emily. And of course, she was beginning to doubt her worth and attractiveness even more. She kept asking herself why Kevin had chosen this woman over her. She couldn't believe that the husband she had once loved and trusted had gradually become more and more repulsive to her. Emily, I have some bad news. I don't have enough money to buy myself a present for our anniversary. And unfortunately, I don't even have the funds to buy us food for dinner, Kevin announced. When he arrived home, Emily wanted to tell him again, but held back. That's all right, darling. I know that you have been trying and that we are having a little financial difficulty right now. We have always had solidarity, and I trust you with a slight smile, Emily replied. but it was hard for her to do so. I'm so grateful for your understanding. Darling, I promise that as soon as things get better, I'll do everything I can to make it up to you. You know I don't care about material gifts or excesses. I value our relationship, and what wealth we have in this world is not always measured in money. She's being fake, in her calm tone, but her husband didn't notice. You're right, dear. Our relationship, understanding, and commitment to each other, that's what really matters. My love for you is stronger than all obstacles and temporary difficulties. That's the best gift, isn't it? I know that you have always been devoted to me and cared for us. We have had and will have our ups and downs, but we will make it through together. Emily replied affectionately. You are the best part of my life, and I have no doubts about our love. Kevin was being sly, and finally, Emily saw it. Thank you, sweetie. Let's not think about money and just enjoy our time together. I know you're doing the best you can, and I have faith in us. Oh yeah, the boss is trying to make me work Saturday again, but I'll try to get off. Anniversary, after all. Kevin scratched his head. If I can't make it, it's okay. I'll get over it. Emily brushed it off. You're a miracle. Kevin didn't even bother to argue. Month after month, Kevin continued to play a double role. A cheerful and caring husband in public, and such a rotten man on the inside. It seemed that nothing was meant to be. The deception was so well thought out that Emily wouldn't have suspected anything other than that their relationship had cooled a bit. And in fact, what was there to notice? There were changes in Kevin's behavior. He became more nervous, irritable, and aloof, less caring or affectionate towards Emily. An increased interest in his appearance also began to be present. He changed the way he dressed, got a new hairstyle, and began to exercise. It was now clear the attention he wanted to attract. It was worth noticing early on that Kevin became more careful with his laptop phone, often changed the password, hid the message, and became more reluctant to share information. Things had changed in bed for them as well. And the constant lack of time and excuses. Kevin started canceling appointments all the time. He didn't even have time to go to Emily's parents for dinner, always making excuses. However, these facts for Emily always had another explanation and did not always indicate betrayal. She had thought so for many years. Emily began her investigation. She couldn't believe it. When she saw the evidence with her own eyes, simply by turning to her husband's open laptop while he stepped away to talk on the phone, apparently again to his mistress, who, as it turned out, was named Lola. Before every family dinner or shopping trip, Kevin carefully edited his bank statements to create the illusion that he had nothing. In reality, he spent all of his family savings on gifts, romantic dinners, and even travel. Emily settled back in her chair because her legs were no longer holding her up by some strange tricks. Kevin managed to make ends meet without arousing Emily's suspicions. He continuously changed bank accounts to hide his secret expenses. He memorized the dates and amounts of his payments and carefully planned the future to make everything fit the lies he constructed. What kind of sneak? Emily whispered and waved her head. But she had seen this evidence of the lie, of her husband with her own eyes. But whom could she scold? After all, she herself was too busy all the time with her own career, business, self-development, to think about possible cheating. But the success of the deception couldn't last forever. The long chain of deception and betrayal was doomed to destruction. Now she was broken and devastated. Upon learning the truth, her entire life was adorned in a web of deceit. Gone was her faith in love, trust, and self-worth. Emily realized that she could hardly manage on her own. She needed a companion, a person who could understand her feelings and would agree to help break the peace and joy of this lying couple. Brother Max could help, but she wanted to tell him later. And for now, there was no such person. Emily decided to probe the ground herself and find out how much her husband thought she was stupid and completely unaware of anything. Oh, darling, I noticed that you smile so much when you look at your phone. You hide it every time I'm near you. Well, maybe it's just a coincidence, my husband shrugged at dinner. I thought you were the one who got texts from work all the time. Emily wrapped a strand of hair around his finger. Yeah, it is. I'm sick of it. Why so interested? We were just discussing weekend plans. Interesting weekend plans. But our anniversary. I thought you said I could work. Did Kevin look at her? Yeah, of course. I was just asking, just wondering why you've been choosing your outfits so carefully lately. Don't you like that for you, husband winked at Emily. No way. I want to look fresh and stylish. It's just a coincidence that I become more conscious of my appearance. And coincidental, of course. You've recently been extra careful about deleting things from your laptop. You said so yourself, Emily casually remarked. Well, that's just me being careful with my laptop memory and data security. Maybe, Emily nodded. But listen, honey, isn't it great that your boss likes soccer too? Really, he gets so excited and happy when his favorite team scores goals and always watches video coverage of the games with you on Fridays. It's weird, isn't it? I think you're up for a promotion. You really think so? We're just discussing the latest games like real fans. Of course, darling, of course. Except he knows how you feel about soccer. Better than I do. And he always tries to be around during matches. But I think these matches are getting a little too obvious, don't you? And arching an eyebrow at Emily. What are you talking about? But Kevin didn't seem to get the hint, or very cleverly pretended to. Nothing about nothing about nothing. The stages of acceptance of the affair went like a schedule. Emotional shock and shock, bewilderment, anxiety, and even denial were replaced by a gradual realization that the cheating had actually happened. And came the feelings of anger, rage, resentment, frustration, and finally the desire for revenge. There was no denial at all. She heard everything with her own ears, and even saw it, though at first she looked for some excuses for her husband, justified his deed, or thought it was a temporary situation. She took it for granted and realized that she was no longer going to stay in this relationship and work to repair it. She decided to walk away and let it ruin Kevin's life. Gathering information about Lola proved to be more of a difficult and emotionally demanding process for Emily, but by no means difficult in terms of information extraction. She started by noticing changes in Kevin's schedule, Kevin's moods, or new interests. From there, she figured out where and when Lola had been, and soon found out when and where her husband was seeing her. She searched for evidence, filmed them with a hidden camera to get photos and videos to confirm the information about meetings with the mistress. Also kept in surveillance of vertical activity on social media and emails. Went to Kevin's workplace, but asked his supervisor, who had known Emily since childhood, not to tell Kevin himself. So she found out everything she needed to know through her husband's coworkers. They had, of course, casually mentioned Kevin's meetings and new relationship. He even bragged about it. So Emily managed to find out where Lola and Kevin were meeting. What was Lola doing? And basically, it turns out, nothing. She often spent time at hangouts and parties, where she was known for her attractive appearance. She interacted with people, was sociable and charming. She enjoyed having fun, was active in shopping, following sales, and constantly finding something new to buy. However, her lack of occupation and raised questions about what she actually did in life. She didn't work, she didn't study, she didn't have her own steady source of income. Her passivity and lack of definite activity sparked interest and even judgment from others. And Lola also had a husband, of course, and Emily had even managed to get his number, and she had immediately called that same day, though she was very nervous. She hoped the words would find themselves. Hello, I am calling you because I have some information I would like to share. Emily, I'm sorry, but what company are you with? I don't remember leaving my number with these people. The voice on the other end was pleasant. No, I'm just a random woman. But I think this information might be important to you. It's about your wife. She's cheating on you. Emily held her breath, waiting for an answer. What can you possibly know? You claim to know my wife better than I do. Perhaps, but it's not very easy to believe. But I got my information from a reliable source. I think you should hear about it. Okay, I'm listening. Sigh on the other end of the phone. But I warn you, if this is some kind of joke or you're just trying to get money out of me, I'll hang up right away. I understand your concern, but this is not a joke. I don't want your monetary support or anything like that. My information concerns your wife, and unfortunately, my husband. That's good. You intrigue me. What do you have to say? It's very hard for me to say this, but I can't keep quiet. Your wife, pardon me for being blunt, is cheating on you with the certainty stated by Emily. That's impossible. You're just trying to destroy my family. The man shrieked. Please, just listen to me. I recommend that you check the facts for yourself, and then you will realize that I am telling the truth. Okay, I'll check everything. But you'll notice I don't believe you. It's kind of weird that you decided to call and tell me that. The man was annoyed. I bet he was. I realize it may seem strange, but I'm a caring person, and I can't just keep quiet when I know what I know. Life is too precious to live in deception. Okay, I hear you. I'll draw my own conclusions, but I'd like to know how to address you. My name is Emily. If you need any support or additional information, I'm here to help. Give me a call. Okay, Emily, I thank you for choosing to tell me this. So be it. I'll check it out and decide what to do next. Thank you for listening to me. Emily had no right to insist that she was right. So she gave Leo, that was Lola's husband's name, the time. She just plunged into finding out why her husband had cheated on her. She could not help but begin to pay attention to her own appearance and behavior. Questions about what might have led him to cheat and what she could influence or change about herself that men really didn't like. Emily even considered updating her image or style, worked on her self-esteem, questioned how satisfied and confident she was with herself. Why had she always defended Kevin and helped him financially? Why put up with his stupidity? Higher self-esteem helped her to feel attractive and important to herself. But first, she thought that perhaps she was too cold or didn't talk enough about her problems, and how willing and able she was to compromise in her marriage and support her husband in his aspirations and interests. And yes, was a good wife, supported his career, participation in his hobbies, or just showed interest in his life and opinions. She tried to stop being too isolated and dependent only on her husband for social support and companionship so that it would not create tension and frustration in the relationship later on. Tried to make new acquaintances and strengthened her social ties so that she would not be drowned in thoughts of infidelity, and diversify her life and reduce the risk of unpleasant situations. A few weeks later, Leo called back. Let's meet at a cafe. I'll text you the address. I want to see for myself. You said you had some proof. Okay, Emily agreed. The cafe where Leo called her. It was all green and with birds singing from the speakers under the ceiling, a perfect place to relax and enjoy nature. When Emily entered the cafe, she immediately felt a pleasant chill in the air and heard the sounds of birds singing, which created an atmosphere of peace and tranquility. That's what she definitely needed right now. She was very nervous before meeting Leo, because what exactly he looked like, she couldn't find out. The cafe had large panoramic windows that gave a great view of the green area around it. There were lots of plants, flowers, and trees, which created the feeling of being in the environment of nature. Shrubs and flowers were arranged throughout the room, created an incredible cozy feel. The furniture in the cafe was made of natural materials of wood and tango. All tables and chairs were comfortable and economically allowed guests to feel comfortable while visiting. The menu at the cafe offered a wide variety of dishes made from natural ingredients. It offered fresh fruits and vegetables, salads, herbal supplements, and spices, as well as hot main courses with meat or fish. But most importantly, it was an opportunity to enjoy the surrounding nature and birdsong. Emily was so enchanted that she forgot about time. The sounds were so natural, as if birds of different species had gathered around the cafe and were having an amazing concert of natural sounds. "Do you like it?" echoed to Emily's left as she sang with Muse. Oops, she covered her mouth with her hand and turned around. It's such a beautiful place, and Lola doesn't like it at all. Too bad, I thought I was picking something wrong. Leo sat down on a neighboring chair. "Let me buy you a drink," he offered. "Sure," Emily nodded. The awkwardness began to pass. "Well, tell me about it." Leo nodded at last. "I discovered that your wife is cheating on you." Emily had the courage to cheat with my husband. "I heard them talking on the phone. Kevin is my husband's name. Talking to Lola about how he got her pregnant. That's some kind of joke." "Right." Leo grinned nervously. "It's a strange joke. Please tell me it's true, but it's just impossible. I can't even imagine such a thing. How could they do such a thing?" I couldn't believe it either, but I saw it with my own eyes. I was so hurt and disappointed. But I saw them in the cafe. I saw them go to the hotel and to your house. "Let me show you a picture. Isn't my wife happy with me?" I thought our marriage was happy. That can't be true. After looking at the photos and videos, "Desperate?" asked Leo. "I don't know exactly how they met, but they exchanged tenderness. They were very close. I want you to know the truth. I found messages and pictures that leave no doubt. I don't know how long this has been going on, but I can't just watch being betrayed." Emily said sadly. "What am I supposed to do?" "Desperate?" asked Leo. "I know this is a very difficult situation, but maybe you should also face the truth. Talk to your wife. Find out what's going on. Because honesty and openness in a relationship means so much to us, doesn't it?" "No, I can't forgive cheating. I sympathize with you. This betrayal is unbearable. Maybe you should talk to your husband and try to find a solution. I don't know how I can just watch them go on with their double life either. I don't think I want to save this marriage. But what I definitely want is to hurt them as much as they hurt us." Emily finally said. "I'm so disappointed, hurt. I think my gullibility has been punished. I can't just let it go and pretend it's not happening." Leo shook his head. "I realize it's difficult, but it's important to stay calm and find a way out of this situation without more suffering. They just think we don't know, but we can expose them. This is a very strong statement. We have to be careful. We have evidence to present to their faces." Leo is suddenly interested. "I have other photos and text messages. I've been collecting them for weeks. It's so hurtful. I still can't believe Lola would do something like this. But if you're sure, Emily, we have to get them both out." Leo said with conviction. "That's exactly right. We have to stand hand in hand on this. They can't get away with this." "Totally agree. We will support each other in this so we can find out the exact truth and put a stop to our relationship." Emily and Leo talked for a long time, and Emily promised that as soon as she came up with a plan where no one would get hurt, except, of course, the honor of Kevin and Lola, she would contact Leo. In the meantime, she was determined to make her husband's life unbearable. Leo was not at all what he had been at first sight. This man was awe-inspiring from the first second. Tall, strong, pumped up. He looked like a real gangster. His broad shoulders and massive muscles emphasized his masculinity, and the tattoos on his arms and neck added mystery and intrigue. But it soon became clear to Emily that this outward appearance was also deceptive. Getting to know him better, it turned out that he was not at all what he seemed. He was a remarkably simple and kind man with deep principles and a sincere heart. Behind his resolute and stern exterior, there was a gentle and caring soul. Despite his strength and muscular physique, he never used it for violence or threats. He sought to use his physical abilities to help others protect and support those who were in trouble. He was full of inner wisdom that he had acquired during his life, and he was always ready to share his guidance and advice. His simplicity and openness in communication made him a remarkably easy conversationalist, and it was a pleasure to spend time with him. He took care of his loved ones and those around him, often coming to the aid of everyone around him. In fact, he became one of the people one turned to when help or support was needed. All his apparent cruelty turned into tact and compassion in front of those who deserved it. and it clearly wasn't Lola. It was even pathetic that such a wonderful man had gotten such a horrible woman. This man was a true example of how deceptive appearances can be. He transcended his looks to become a kind and wise man. Standing up for the weak and fighting evil, his true essence, his unwavering kindness made him truly beautiful. Of course, as opposed to Emily's own husband. And what did this Lola Kevin find? Well, apparently what Emily herself once did. She started strictly controlling Kevin's every move, constantly asking where he was going, asked him to show her who he was texting, criticized all his decisions of friends and interests, trying to destroy his self-esteem, began to constantly provoke quarrels and squabbles, taking pleasure in the way Kevin, completely clueless as to how this had started. And surprisingly, Emily did not Kevin scandalized in response, but on the contrary, tried to calm down. "What are you, honey? You're tired at work. Have a rest." Emily, like a sadist, played with his feelings and energy, confusing him with all these manipulations. Every time Kevin said that their marriage was starting to go wrong, Emily would put herself in the role of victim and promise to make things right. In the end, Kevin remained captive to his own fear and doubts. His life became increasingly unbearable. He gradually lost his identity and self-esteem under the influence of his wife. He gave her all his dreams and ambitions, and she satisfied herself by playing with her power over him. Whatever her husband did, no matter how hard he tried, it was all ruthlessly commented and criticized. Even the smallest details were the occasion for long, heartfelt conversations. As soon as Kevin started to talk about his problems or successes at work, Emily would immediately change the subject to talk about her own problems and achievements. She would impose her point of view. This became one of Emily's favorite things to do. And she especially loved watching Kevin poke at her and completely agree, no matter what they were talking about or arguing about. Emily never missed a single opportunity to prove that she was always right, even if it was nonsense beyond belief. She didn't just give her opinion. She persisted and persuaded her point of view to the point where her husband began to doubt her rightness. Emily also stopped making the house their personal nesting place. She stopped moving all of his things so he couldn't find them in their usual place, changed the lights, rearranged his keys so he would be late for work in the morning looking for them, and even left an empty tank in the car. "Emily, why is there no gas? I'm late," called shouting Kevin from the driveway this morning. "Oh, I forgot." And she dropped the call, and afterward enjoyed how Kevin could in the rain and the 20-minute wait for a cab, and how angry he came back that evening. Complained that he'd been reprimanded. "So you're going without a promotion?" I added fuel to the fire. Emily went to bed happy. She was changing the sound effects on his phone. What made it jerk so hard one day that it shattered the screen? "I bought it a month ago." Kevin howled. "Terrible," replied Emily with a sneer. She even made strange and inexplicable noises to scare Kevin at night and keep him awake, to make him feel paranoid. And of course, sent the first anonymous message that his secrets had long since come true. Kevin turned pale. Emily was setting his alarm clock. Earlier or later, or it went off altogether. The oxen were asleep. His breakfast shaving foam poured out, ruined his shirts, and stopped washing them altogether. Swapped a pair of his jeans for the same smaller size, and chuckled to the point of tears in his fist that my husband didn't realize they were, poking that he was stacked on the table and couldn't fit into them. Replaced his dumbbells with heavier ones. And the favorite channels on the TV in general knocked off the new one. Never offered to break up. And then suddenly it hit Emily. She abruptly stopped giving him money for food. Yes, and in general to cook herself, ate in cafes and restaurants, stopped defending Kevin when parents called and pounced on him on the phone. And judging by Kevin's angry and disgruntled face at work, he also started having problems. Yeah, and his paycheck wasn't enough for everything he was used to. He used to be with her because he was comfortable with the money and position, the apartment, and the convenient job his father-in-law had set him up with. He not only became more and more infatuated in his secret encounter with Lola and started spending more and more money on her, but he thought it was normal. All these years he had just used Emily as a bank and never really loved her at all. She allowed herself some tears, which was why he didn't want to leave. He needed to continue to exist somehow. Emily had never been happier with her decision not to have a child with Kevin. However, instead of simply confessing his mistake to his wife, he decided to come up with an elaborate scheme to deceive her. The scoundrel would go to bed later than usual, pretend to be deep into work or busy with other things in order to have time for his meetings with the other woman. He kept careful track of time and gave himself excuses for his late arrivals home and constantly experienced higher levels of anxiety and guilt. He became a temper tantrum as his conscience told him he was doing something wrong. But he apparently shut it up at one point. He tried to discourage Emily from talking about problems and arguments to avoid discussing his infidelity, did not take her with him on business trips, and did not allow her to participate in hobbies. He woke up early to be aware of all the events and to have full control over his behavior in the presence of Emily. And of course, he tolerated her antics because he was financially dependent on his wife's family. He was not an idiot and realized that admitting his infidelity would lead to the breakup of the family and the loss of financial support, which was his main source of income. He steadfastly tolerated Emily's emotional and psychological antics in order to maintain his financial position and hide his cheating and nothing else, constantly whining and pointing out that he had no money, and blamed everything on work for all his difficulties of a financial nature. He offered himself everywhere to earn money for gifts, for Lola took extra orders and even borrowed from friends, and when there was not enough, borrowed from Emily herself. However, being an understanding and caring wife, she did not want to burden Kevin with additional questions or stress, so she supported this game of his. She worried about him, thought things would get better soon. While Kevin continued his double life, a lying and sneaky cheater, he deserved not only this torment, but public humiliation, and Emily found a way to do just that, by petty bullying. She had already lost her ego, and she was quickly getting bored of it. Kevin's rotten soul deserved to be punished. He had shown himself to be a complete lack of conscience and an emotional void. He had no remorse or guilt for his actions, but instead often found excuses and insults to avoid taking responsibility for his actions. He was indifferent to the feelings and suffering he caused his spouse, and showed no care or compassion for her emotional pain, avoided any responsibility all his life, and tried to capitalize on his cheating, used false excuses to turn the situation in his favor, did not take any action to correct his mistakes or rebuild trust, but rather found more and more opportunities to cheat again. What kind of mistress was that? It was frightening to imagine. Kevin's rotten soul lacked sincerity, honesty, and loyalty. He was incapable of true love, nor was he capable of caring for his spouse, as his selfish wants and needs always prioritized only his well-being. Instead of admitting his mistakes and trying to become a better man, he chose the path of lies and betrayal, which made his soul even more rotten and destructive. Once again, when Kevin referred to a small business trip and Leo informed them that his wife was on her way to visit her mother, they realized that the two were headed for a rendezvous. Emily had changed the locks on the apartment, and Leo had blocked all of his wife's accounts and was giving her a sweet life too. For the last few weeks, one that had her howling. "You ready?" Leo asked me on the phone. "Yeah, I think I'm ready. Let everyone see what kind of man he is. Are you? We'll definitely come as invited guests. Lola won't suspect a thing. She's so fond of fun. Good luck to us. Good luck to us." Emily made the final preparations before the main day of her plan and locked herself in her apartment at her retreat. She loved her beautiful modern home. It was just her place now. It had become a true sanctuary for Emily, who no longer wished to see her changeling husband by her side. She had created an atmosphere of comfort, tranquility, and well-being, where she could finally take a break from these months of what felt like a run and forget about the unpleasant moments. A spacious hallway with high ceilings and light-colored walls had floors covered with a warm packet that pleasantly muffled the sounds of footsteps. On the walls hung paintings with images of nature that can create an atmosphere of peace, a cozy rug on which she relaxed, and read a book. Large panoramic windows filled the room with light and offered a view of the city panorama, adding to the spaciousness and airiness of the soft sofas. The armchairs were upholstered in fabrics that were pleasant to the touch and arranged to create a comfortable seating area. This was her place, her world. And truth be told, Kevin had never fit in. Special attention was paid to the bathroom. It had a spacious shower stall with a rainfall showerhead, warm floor, and pleasant aromas. White ceramics, glass shelves, and a lighted mirror created a feeling of sterility and coziness. She walked to the dining room, where she was going to spend pleasant evenings after the divorce, enjoying good food and great conversations with friends. Friends who had never liked Kevin either, and who had even become estranged over time because they couldn't find common ground and topics of conversation with him. And finally, she went back to the bedroom, lay down on the comfortable bed with fluffy pillows and a soft blanket. The window in the bedroom had dense curtains, which did not allow to disturb her serene sleep. On the night table was a romantic lamp with a relaxing essential oil and a photo of her and her husband that went in the trash. Emily decided to share her story with her brother. "Hey, Max, we can talk. I have something important to tell you." Emily invited her brother to come over. Sure. What's up? Do you look weird?" Max put his arm around his sister's shoulders. "But it's gonna be a little hard to tell you now. I found out that Kevin was cheating on me." "That Kevin?" Max shrieked. "I knew it. You had such a strong relationship, but I just never liked him." "How did you find out about it?" "I overheard him talking to his mistress. He got her pregnant. He's been seeing another woman for about a year." "I don't want to know about the other mistresses. I really can't believe it. It's such a blow." "How are you feeling?" "Scared for her brother. Disappointed. Hurt. I thought we had a relationship of trust, but it turned out to be a betrayal. I'm speechless. I understand, sis, adultery in a marriage. It's a very difficult situation. Do you have to be strong to get through it? Let me help you as a friend. Let me have it." No, I interrupted Emily's brother myself. "I contacted his mistress's husband. He's playing along, and we need your help too." And Emily told her brother her plan. "I'll do whatever you say. I'll do whatever you say. Thank you. I really need your support right now. I don't know what to do next. We've been together for so long. The first thing to do is sit down and have a serious talk with a counselor. I'm not sure if I can talk to him without expressing anger and resentment, but I'll try. Yes, it will probably be difficult, but it's important to stay calm and open. Thank you, Max. I appreciate your support and advice. I need time to think about my options and decide how I want to proceed. But first my plan, then I'll feel better. I'm sure, rest assured, that I'm always here to help and support. You are worthy of true love and happiness, and I am sure you will find your way." Through the efforts of fate, infidelity took its rightful place and left behind stunning consequences. Life said goodbye to the usual harmony, leaving Emily's soul with a sense of pride. Life is a strange thing. It threw up challenges for Emily to pass and reach a new level of understanding and strength. And she accepted the challenge, opened her heart, and found that unbreakable love in her soul that could move mountains. Wisdom comes with age, and sometimes you have to go through fire and water to find your true self. Emily, Leo, and now their new assistant, Emily's brother Max, decided to have a party on a motorboat. Everyone around them was informed that it would be a colorful event filled with fun, entertainment, and unforgettable experiences. The motorship was decorated with bright illuminations, colorful balls, and fairy and decorations, created an atmosphere of fairy tale and holiday. There were garlands and music everywhere. The festive program included a variety of show numbers, concerts, discos, incendiary dancing to music and other attractions, as well as food host. And something special was a surprise for everyone. The guests could enjoy performances by professional artists and live music. It was possible to visit the bar and restaurant, where various dishes and drinks were offered, to socialize with new acquaintances, as well as to enjoy the beautiful views of the river, along which the ship sailed. One of the brightest moments of the festive event on the ship were fireworks, charming and bright flashes of fire, multicolored, noisy against the background of the night sky, made this holiday truly magical and unforgettable, regardless of the occasion. It was the perfect atmosphere for fun, relaxation, and unforgettable moments. The women were in beautiful evening gowns dipped in sequins and train. They shone like stars in the night sky. Their revealing styles emphasized their graceful figures, causing eyes to turn admiringly on them. They entered gracefully like ballerinas, filling the air with their charm. In their hands were champagne glasses that dreamed golden with glitter, creating an atmosphere of celebration. Wine bubbles played with light, reflected in their eyes, as if crossing the line of reality, and their jewelry glittered, reminding of the sparkling reflection of their lights on the water. Thin necklaces sparkled on their necks, and in their ears small earrings shimmered with multicolored spots of light. Rings, accusing fingers, created an enchanting sound of gold, which took thoughts to the world of endless wealth. The guests were attractive and commanding, like queens rising above the crowd, majestic and sensual. They created an atmosphere of luxury and non-crime. Everywhere played with light and shadows like fairies, illuminating the evening cold. In them revived sincere femininity, which seemed divine and unfathomable. The world of their exquisite beauty and impeccable style was shrouded in an aura of the unfathomable. But they were not the main characters of the evening. Everything was ahead of them. The evening city, which could be observed from the water, seemed to come alive from a fairy tale, turned into a world of magic and romance. As the ship sailed down the river, the building, the lantern, and the moon reflected their lights on the water surface, creating an impressive illusion and double city. As they sailed further, the buildings slowly but surely rose into the sky, their outlines becoming bright and clear. The evening lights seemed to give these buildings life, as if they were mysterious beings wandering in a world of their own. That was how Emily felt as well. She looked at her reflection, rising and falling on the smooth surfaces of the river like huge mirrors colored by the lights of the city. The lanterns adorning the embankment and bridges gave delicate shades of light, creating a romantic atmosphere. Their lamps glowed with warm and bright colors, as if the stars were intertwined with the lights reflected in the water. There were a lot of people, and Leo and Lola were not yet conventionalized by anyone. And in the middle of this fabulous picture, the moon was shining its pale and soft golden dawn, illuminating the water and the surrounding city. The moon, like the queen of the night, penetrated the hearts of lovers of art and romance, giving this city a special charm and mystery. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Maxim finally took the microphone in his hands, asked all the guests of the heart. Today we are gathered here on a special occasion. Let's not procrastinate. The guests applauded. No one had any idea yet what was ahead of them. Emily and Kevin were a happily married couple who lived their beautiful life. They had all the love, stable jobs, and a wonderful life together. However, their happy world was cut short when Kevin one day, thinking his wife was on a business trip, found out that his lover Lola got pregnant by him. Said Max joyfully on the big screen in front of the tables began to show photos and videos of Kevin and Lola in an embrace kissing. What's going on? Kevin jumped up. She was heartbroken and stunned by this news. She couldn't understand how her husband could cheat on her and betray their family. She felt the anger and pain of betrayal, and each day more anger built up in her heart. Max, what are you talking about? Shouted Kevin across the room. But my beautiful sister, instead of letting the anger eat her from the inside out, decided to use her power to turn inside herself and change her life. She decided that revenge would not lie on the surface. It would be sweet and subtle. Max, shut up. Emily, this is crazy. Getting your brother to calm down is a photo montage, screamed Kevin, even louder, and threw himself at the screen to shut him out. But all the guests put down their food and stared in shock, whispering as they stared at the screen. Emily herself experienced incredible jubilation. She had indeed found the inner strength and determination to return to her former form and status and to protect herself from future hurt and damage. She had never imagined it would bring her such pleasure. She felt energized and determined to fight and prevent anyone from trying to hurt her more. There was the joy of revenge as well. She had finally achieved her goal and carried out revenge for the wrongs done to her. It felt satisfying and joyful. It felt wonderful. She had regained her dignity and self-respect and protected herself from future potential abusers. How delusional is this? Don't you recognize yourself? Well, maybe you recognize your lover Lola then, said Emily. And then there was Leo's exit with his wife, who sat paler than the moon at the farthest table, and finally realized why she and her husband had come here. I mean, listen to me, Emily. You think I'm cheating on you, but that's absolute nonsense. It's a lie. Your parents hate me, and they're setting me up. Please listen to me. Kevin rushed back to his wife. Do you really think I'm just making this stuff up? I'm the one who filmed you. I'm the one who angrily lashed out, Emily. I can't understand why I have to respond to these baseless accusations. I'm not perfect, but I've never cheated on our marriage. We need to discuss this and find a solution. You couldn't have filmed anything because it didn't happen. How do you expect me to believe you if all this evidence points to the contrary? Emily pointed her hand at the screen. I found some strange messages and noticed how secretive you've become. Why didn't you just tell me everything? Maybe because you thought you could live off me and cheat on me for the rest of your life. The first thing I have to make sure of is that my account hasn't been hacked or used without my knowledge. Kevin continued to push his line. How disgusting are you? Emily pushed him away and rolled her eyes. Let's look at this as a problem we need to solve together. Let's check my social media account. See if there's been any unauthorized activity. And let's even go to a professional to rebuild our trust. Kevin started making excuses and ran around the room. What are you talking about? Max grinned from the stage. I'm willing to do everything in my power to restore your faith and our happy existence. Let's work on it together and overcome all the difficulties that come our way. Kevin didn't give up. You're an incredible liar, evil, Emily said. Meanwhile, Lola and Leo were also starting to work things out. But Lola didn't hide anything, which made Kevin angry. Please stay with me. I realize I made a mistake and cheated on you. I regret it deep down inside. But I love you and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to repair our relationship. She was whining about her husband. What was it you were missing? Leo bellowed. Have I been such a bad husband? I can't just forget what you did. Oh, Lola, if only you had said so at once. But you're not remorseful. It's been going on for so long. It was a betrayal, and it's taken a heavy toll on our trust. I'm not sure I can go back to the way things were before. I realize that I broke the trust between us, and that's my main remorse. But I want to make amends. I want to do everything I can to repair our relationship. I started going to therapy, working on my mistakes, and the reasons why I had to seek attention outside of our marriage. Don't lie, Lola, Leo snorted. We need time and space to rethink everything that's happened. My heart has been badly damaged by the affair. I'm not sure if I can regain the feeling I had before. I am willing to wait and fight for our happiness. I hope that in time you can forgive me and give us another chance. But we have been through so much together, and hopefully we can overcome this challenge as well. I can't give you a definite answer right now. We should probably get a divorce. It's for the best. We both need time to reflect and analyze ourselves. I ask you to respect my decision and give me the space I need to decide. There was only sadness in Leo's voice. I love you and I am willing to do anything to regain your trust and love. Lola continued to cry and wail. What kind of divorce could there be? Honey, I have some big news for you. I'm pregnant, and this baby is yours. We're having a baby. That's wonderful news. I'm so happy, playfully, Leo replied. Yes, you are. I'm very happy that we're finally going to be a real family and raise the baby together. That's wonderful. Sweetheart, I appreciate your support. Honey, you're such a wonderful husband. I know we may have our difficulties, but we'll get through this. Lola thought she was believed and was starting to smile. You have to tell me the truth, don't lie. At least now I know this baby is not mine, and this fool is skinny. Leo pointed at Kevin. How did you know? I was sure no one knew. I don't know what to say. The woman immediately lowered her head at Nicholas. I don't deserve to be treated like this. Lola, for some reason, chose to hide such a truth from me. I'm disappointed and insulted. I'm afraid of losing you. I made a mistake, and I thought it was better to keep it a secret. I didn't mean to hurt you. Lola whispered. You knew the pain it would cause, but you chose to keep the truth from me anyway. I don't know how I can forgive this. Please understand. I love you and I want to keep our family together. I promise I will be here for you and the baby, no matter who the father is. Lola once again clutched at Leo's jacket. This is a very difficult situation, Lola, and you're better off dealing with it with the father of your child. I'm disappointed that you felt the need to keep such an important and serious matter from me. Meanwhile, Kevin threw himself on his knees, fell to his knees in front of her. This is the cherished place where you two are supposed to meet. What a shame I just happened to be there. Emily pointed to a picture of the hotel on the screen. Honey, it's not what you think. It's not. What then? Perhaps I should help clarify. Emily replied ironically. Sorry, I didn't realize he was married. Frightened Lola intervened in their conversation. Oh no, don't try to blame it on an accident. You forgot to mention that you're pregnant by my husband with disgust. Emily answered her. Without even turning around, she just put her hand out. This is the first time I've seen her. I don't know who this woman is. What a pregnancy. Kevin howled. And that money was your excuse for such a betrayal. Doesn't it bother you that it violates our trust and our family well-being? You spent our money on her wants, forcing me to support you and your mistress, shrieked Emily. For all to hear, there was no such thing. It wasn't my fault, he continued to argue. Kevin, you're right. What happened can't be changed, but what I can change is my life. I will no longer tolerate such a treacherous and deceitful relationship. Coldly, Emily replied. I apologize. I didn't mean to destroy your family. Lola cried. Shut up, you suddenly barked at her, Kevin. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for what I did. But please give us a chance to make it right. He turned to Emily again. The banquet hall, still recently filled with joy and merriment, was filled with judgmental whispers. Its spacious walls adorned with exquisite details and decorations that added charm and luxury no longer charmed at all. The multitude of guests in the room, dressed in their finest attire, were no longer enjoying their dinner or treating themselves to exquisite food and drink. The talk and laughter and complimenting of the hall subsided, and the guests began to speak to each other. What horror they had just seen. And the jokes were disappearing from their conversation. The guests were no longer relaxed, and the music died down. It was past the time of dancing, of smiling, the joy of sharing in the celebration. Is this some kind of scripted drama? Is this a prank? I can't believe this is happening. My cheating was exposed in front of everyone. That's right. Emily, you had no right to take my dirty laundry out in public. Shame and betrayal. That's all I see, screamed Kevin in a rage. All these idiots around me, they know nothing. They judge me, condemn me as if they know the whole truth. But where is my side of the story? Of course I have to justify myself to you. I search for words to convince you that my treason was in response to something. But I can't find those words, because the truth is, all my excuses are nil. And you know it. Kevin paced the room in despair. I don't know how to live with you anymore. I'm not sure I love you anymore. Is this even you? Or am I living with a stranger capable of ruining my life? Such a disappointment. The bitter truth that you're not right for me, that I made a mistake choosing you as my wife. You idiots, all of you who judge me. You don't see my pain, my rage, my disappointment. You don't know what it is. No words, no excuses. Only rage, destroying my life. And whose fault is that? You, of course. Emily is here from the table with the long white tablecloth, pushing back the legs of the chair with a creak. The warden also came up from the floor. Kevin, good evening. Come on. He turned to Kevin. That calmed everyone down a bit. What happened? Kevin rolled his eyes, but moved behind the warden. Maybe not now. I hope this isn't work-related. What again? If this is another one of your delusions, I can't take it anymore. Unfortunately, the kind of behavior you've just exhibited will have a negative impact on the company's reputation and image. We've received evidence of you cheating on your wife in public, and I'm afraid our cooperation cannot continue. I'm sure you realize that such actions are incompatible with our corporate values. The boss started loudly. How can you say that? You have invaded my privacy. This should have nothing to do with my job. Kevin was sincerely indignant. I also want to discuss behavior in the company with you. We have noticed some unprofessional behavior and unprofessional comments lately. I'm just saying what I think. Everyone here is an idiot except me, yelled Kevin. Your comments and tone of conversation are contrary to those norms and also displeasing to your peers. Yeah, I don't care about those norms or what my coworkers think. I'm doing my job, and I don't care about anything else, Kevin replied. But apart from everything else, and what we have seen today, I realize that your personal affairs are your private space. But we've heard about your actions from disgruntled customers as well. And more than once I turned a blind eye for a while. But this is too much. Divorce, please. But cheating is a breach of trust. Unfortunately, I'm forced to make the decision to terminate your employment. But I do this job better than anyone else. How can you? Kevin started to raise his voice. I can, said the supervisor. You can't fire me because of my personal life. What am I supposed to do now? I can't get a job anywhere else. I understand that this is a difficult situation. You can contact the department for advice and help in finding a new job. They can offer support in finding a new work position and training. Summary. I have worked for you for a long time, and now I am losing everything because of my personal problems. It's not fair. Kevin bent almost to the stars. We cannot disregard the feelings and comfort of other employees in our company. The constant scandals, insults, and sharp manner of communication contradict the working atmosphere we try to create. The supervisor tried to explain again. You all just don't understand anything. You can't be happy here working with these idiots. But Kevin was unstoppable. No, not at all. I realize this is a difficult situation for you, but we have to take care of the company's reputation and image. I encourage you to seek help and rebuild your career with another company. But remember that you are building an image of an indifferent and unfair company. I understand your frustration, but we face difficult decisions based on the course of employee behavior and its impact on the company. I wish you success in your future labor pursuits. We have had several warning conversations, but nothing has changed. Our company cannot tolerate this kind of behavior, and I'm sure you'll find another company where your approach will be in demand. It was the end of the conversation. The boss of the new continued to be angry seriously. I'll never find a job like this. All right, do as you wish, but remember that you lost your real talent. Kevin suddenly started to get mad already in a serious manner and shouted after his cheating was publicly exposed in his voice, felt fury and indignation. He, loudly and without shyness of words, expressed all his indignation, trying to prove his rightness, justified himself to others. He became instantly aggressive, and his displeasure that things had not gone according to plan accompanied them with gestures and swear words. He said hurtful words to his wife, hurtful language and direct insults. Uncontrollable rage and deep disappointment were evident on his face and in his demeanor, and afterwards accompanied by tears, even furious sobbing. Is this not your firm? Are you not rich? Asked after his hysterics, Lola. But we love each other, darling. I don't know how to start this conversation. I'm so ashamed of you. Kevin turned to her. What are you talking about? Lola frowned. We've been exposed. Our whole affair is now known to everyone. I know it causes you pain and shame. And I'm sorry for all of it. Kevin was already stuttering. How could I have been so stupid and trusted you? I thought we would have a future together, that you would protect me, that we would live large. Rebutted Lola in her selfish manner. My love, I've always tried to create the illusion of an affluent life so that you wouldn't be unduly stressed. But the truth is that I am not wealthy. I've always pretended to give you the best. But the truth is, I have financial problems. Are you serious? I've lived this whole time in ignorance. Lying? No, I can't accept that. I deserve better. I deserve honesty. How could you do this to me? I'm a loser, not the successful and wealthy man I thought I was. But I love you and I sincerely wish you happiness. Please understand me, Kevin begged again. I don't know what to do now. I feel betrayed, deceived. We're both to blame for this situation, and I don't know if it can be fixed. Crossing my arms over my chest. Lola, I'm ready to start over being honest and real with you. I'm sorry you got that impression of me. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive you, but I think we need to think this through first. Lola rolled her eyes and looked at Leo again. Please, give me another chance. I'm willing to fight for us and correct my mistakes. Give me time and let us discuss how we can move forward together. Let me be with my baby. Kevin continued to humor him, but Lola was no longer listening. Wait, it's not his baby. Lola rushed after her husband as he walked away. Please don't leave me. I'm sorry for everything that happened. I'm ready to change, to be a better wife for you. Lola, enough. You broke our mutual faith and sold out to someone else. Leo ripped his hand from his wife's fingers. But please give me another chance. My God, I don't even know what this means for our family. My job, my career. Everything is ruined because of this affair. And whose fault is that? You, of course, my dear wife. All those damn rumors about my personal life got me fired. And once again, it was your fault. Kevin kept screaming at the ceiling. It's been a circus already. Serves you right. Max snorted. Well, you've ruined my life enough, haven't you? Pointed his finger at Emily. Kevin. Fuck you. You finally told Emily what you wanted to say. The enraged Kevin swung his hand with a furious expression and ripped the tablecloth off the table in a furious chaos. The glasses and plates, which had been neatly arranged on the table surface, suddenly howled into the air and instantly shattered on the floor. Glass spatters and shards dreamily scattered all over the room, creating an ear-splitting clang. Kevin watched with rage as the debris scattered across the hall, scattering all around him. At the same time, his face reflected the terrible anger and frustration that overwhelmed him. What was going on? Kevin only wanted to rush over and to his friends who had been invited and were looking at him in disgust. Seriously, you ask, what is going on? Have you been cheating on your wife? And what kind of show did you put on? What is this? You can't keep your cool. It came back to him. Aya, what do? I did make a mistake with Emily, and I'm sorry for it. But I'm working on my mistakes. Kevin began to justify himself again and again. And how are you going to fix it? Your mistress is also pregnant with your child, Emily, and I will work it out. Kevin dismissed it. That sounds really good, but we've all been hurt by what you've done. Have you ever thought about the consequences of your actions for all of us? Only Kevin wanted to answer, but behind him he only heard the whispers of other guests and Emily's relatives. Terrible, just terrible. I can't believe that this Kevin was cheating on our single, beautiful wife. For so long, they seemed like such a happy couple. I'm sure she suspected something was wrong a long time ago, but just didn't want to see the truth. What kind of betrayal is that? What a terrible level of selfishness to hurt someone you promised to love and care for all your life. It's simply unforgivable. I hope she finds the strength to fight through this pain and make the decision that is best for her. Kick him out. This traitor does not deserve her love and loyalty. Resent her friends. That's how she's already changed the locks, snickered Emily. I always thought men were supposed to be their wives' support and protection. I mean, they promised to be there for them in all of life's situations, but instead he cheated on Emily and ruined their whole beautiful and seemingly unshakable life. A woman's intuition can be overwhelming. She did well. It was typical. But how hard is it to accept that reality? How hard is it to realize that the husband you trusted all along has been cheating on you? I've known his wife for years and have always been jealous of their relationship. And now it turns out it was all just an illusion. How could he? All she wanted was his happiness, his love. And instead, he betrayed her and caused her endless pain. Ugh, selfish. He deserved it all. And Lola is no better. Max's wife agreed. It's just unbearable to hear about it. I know them both. I was at their wedding, and I always thought they were the perfect couple. An example for everyone else. And now what? Kevin's friends summed it up as well. Kevin listened to all of this, looking furtively, wiping his busted lip. Max answered him, and Leo added. But worse for Kevin was the fact that they were on the water. There was nowhere to swim to, and there was no one to leave the event. We had to listen. Emily, baby, how are you? Why didn't she say anything to us? Emily's mom ran up to her mom's mom. I was so hurt. I couldn't believe he could do that. But I feel so much better now. Believe me, I didn't think this performance would help so much. Emily snuggled into her mother's shoulder and relaxed. Sweetie, we are with you. Remember, we love you dearly and will always support you. We understand what a difficult time this is for you. I'll get him. Dad started it. Don't. Dad, I already did. Max grinned as he approached. Anger, sadness, frustration. It's all completely normal. But you're strong, and we believe in you. The father reassured his daughter. I know, thank you for having you. Emily hugged with her family. It's unforgivable, but at times, the toughest challenges bring out our strongest versions of ourselves. Take care of yourself. Right now, don't hesitate to seek professional help if you need it. It's going to take you a long time to come out of this, but you're not alone. Mom patted her daughter on the head. And remember, it's not your fault, it's that asshole's. Never blame yourself for someone else's infidelity. It's an indicator of a deeply flawed relationship. Thank you. I don't know how I'd do it without you. We have a lot to talk about. Turned Emily's nose up at you. We'll always be there for each other, even if our words or hugs can't ease your pain. Don't forget that. You will always be our dear daughter, and we will overcome all difficulties together. We are stronger together. I love you, and we love you no matter what. We are always here to support you. Emily's support was needed after all, and she got through the divorce with dignity. She became good friends with Leo, who was hired to replace Kevin. And finally, freed from this leech in the form of her ex-husband, Emily lived freely and with full confidence that she will meet her love man who will appreciate her, carry her in his arms. And the main thing is to love as she is, not for material benefits.